Good evening and welcome to the January 14th, 2015 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Supervisor, and it's wonderful to see so many people here tonight. I would note that for those of you that are here in the room, the agenda and all of the supporting material are on the table in the back of the room, but I know we have a lot of people that are watching at home on TV or streaming it on the internet. And for you, if you'd like to look at the material, the agenda, and all the backup documents, they're all available on the Town of Brighton website, www.townofbrighton.org. And I would note for those of you that are here regularly, normally you'd see us with packets of papers here. Starting in December, the Town Board has gone electronic with our meetings. So we have our agendas and all of our supporting material on our laptops and iPads rather. Just at this one meeting tonight, that saves over 1,500 sheets of paper. So you're going to be seeing that from now on. But it's great to have everybody here. We will start the meeting in just a moment with some proclamations and then our open forum. We always welcome people during the open forum. Anyone is welcome to comment or ask questions about any matter, whether or not it is on our agenda for the meeting tonight. We also have the opportunity for people that are at home to call in. If you would like to call in with a question or a comment during the open forum, you can call 303-3060. That's 303-3060. And someone will take your call and relay that to us. We also have a TDD line if you are deaf or hearing impaired. Our TDD line number is 784-5205. Again, our TDD line for deaf or hearing impaired residents that would like to call in with a question or a comment, 784-5205. We look forward to hearing from you with your comments or your questions. I'd like to start with a pledge to the flag, and I'll ask Town Board Member Louise Novros to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In case of an emergency tonight, if you hear the town hall emergency alarm system, please leave the room immediately, either through the door to my right, turn right, go down the rear stairs, and out the door away from the building, or go out either of the two exits lighted in the rear of the room, go out the front door of Town Hall, down the steps, and then again away from the building. We do occasionally experience technical difficulties during the live broadcast on cable TV. If you do experience any technical difficulties viewing the cable cast on our cable TV system, please contact Time Warner Cable at 756-5000. Again, that's 756-5000 for any problems viewing our live cable cast. As I mentioned, we are going to start with some presentations here tonight. And these really are some of my favorite presentations of the year. As many of you know, I've been a member of the Brighton Rotary Club for over 25 years. Each year, the Brighton Rotary Club, for over 40 years, has invited men and women who are leaders of Rotary regional areas around the world to come to the Rochester area, spend a week living in the homes of Rotarian families here in the Rochester, Brighton area, down in the Finger Lakes, before going to California for a week of training. It's been a great opportunity to have people experience life here in this country. And this year is no exception. We have 4 what we call Rotary District Governors-elect who are visiting Brighton Rotary members, or in one case, a Rochester Rotary member whose business is here in Brighton. And I would like to call all of them up now along with your host families, please. So come on up. You can gather behind me here. Dinesh, you look very short standing next to me.
Or we could say the other way around.
We could. Thank you. This year, visiting the Brighton area are Parag and Poonam Sheth, visiting from India, and they are staying with Dr. Dinesh Chawla and Rashmi Chawla. We have Gunawan and Inkawati Chokrajojo from Indonesia, who are staying with Brighton Rotary members Ram and Rekha Shrivastava. Michael and Maxine Woods from Australia, who are staying with Pete and Elaine Schwartz, and also their neighbors Toy and Marlene McGarry. And finally, also from Australia, Anne and Jeffrey Egan, who are staying with Roland and Barbara Stort. And they're all here behind me. I do want to present each one of our visiting district governors with a proclamation, and I'm going to give each of them an opportunity just to say a couple words about their area, perhaps, their Rotary clubs. Whereas Rotarians have provided service in local communities and throughout the world since 1905 through steadfast practice of the motto of Rotary International, service above self. And whereas Brighton Rotary established the Milt Matthews District Governor-elect Hospitality Program over 40 years ago, inviting international leaders of Rotary International to Brighton and the Rochester area to live with local Rotarians and their families as a way to enhance international service and world understanding. And whereas this year, Brighton Rotary and District 7120 are hosting 19 Rotary District Governors-elect from around the world, giving them the opportunity to live with families in the Rochester and Brighton area, where they will gain a better understanding of America and New York, and also have an opportunity to learn about Rotary service projects undertaken by Brighton Rotary and other Rotary clubs in and near Rochester. And whereas during their stays, the district governors-elect will also have an opportunity to see the Brighton Rotary History Center at Buckland House, the joint project of the town of Brighton, state of New York, and the Brighton Rotary Club, to help them gain a greater appreciation for the history of Brighton and the history of service that Brighton Rotary has provided to the community. Now therefore, let it be proclaimed that the Brighton Town Board does hereby respectfully and gratefully recognize the outstanding community service of Brighton Rotary and welcome visiting Rotarian District Governors-elect Gunawan Chokrajojo from Indonesia, Parag Sheth from India, Michael Woods from Australia, and Anne Egan, also from Australia, with our congratulations and best wishes as the governors-elect of each of your local Rotary districts. These proclamations have been signed January 14th, today's date, 2015, by myself as Brighton Supervisor, and yes, as proud Brighton Rotary member, and by the members of the Brighton Town Board. I will invite each of our governors. I will give you this proclamation and invite you to say a few words. Parag, since you're right here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to.
Members of the Council of Brighton Club, Brighton Village, my Rotarian friends, and all my friends. We are from, myself and Poonam are from India, Gujarat province, and I'm leading the Rotary District 3060, having 85 clubs. It is my great pleasure to have with the Rotarians and Rotarians of District 7120. The Brighton Club is a part of that district, and we had a very nice time. We have a very good learning experience staying with Rotarians of the 7120. We had been to Corning for 4 days. Now we are with Rotarian Chawla and Rashmiji. They are the very nice host, and we thank you for the hosting us. We thank you for the. I'd like to inform one thing, that the secretary, Mr. Carey, was in our province in Gujarat before 3-4 days, and he participated the Vibrant Gujarat Summit for development, industrial development of our province, and the investment part, how we collaborate with America and India. That summit he participated recently, and President Mr. Obama will visit to our country on 26th of January to participate and to grace the occasion of our Independence Day on 26th of January. Thank you very much. Once again.
Thank you so much.
One more thing.
Sure.
One more. Sorry, I forgot. I'd like to offer a small pin to Mr. Bill on behalf of all the members of the village of Brighton, on behalf of our Rotary District 3060. Thank you, and I request him to offer the honor on our behalf.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to ask Governor-elect Michael Woods from Australia to please join us.
Thank you.
And let me present this proclamation again, signed by all of us.
Thank you very
The microphone
much.
is yours. Thank you.
Hi there, everyone. I'm from Cairns in North Queensland, the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef. We have a very large district that takes in 1,500 million square kilometres of North Queensland and the Northern Territory. We have 44 Rotary clubs, but they're all doing lots of great stuff across that district. And we also have the East Timor country and the club in Dili in our district as well, so we have an international club as well. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a tropical town, our place at home, and this is just wonderful weather we're experiencing. So yeah, so the snow is beautiful, and we're enjoying your wildlife as well. So we're having a great look around. Thank you very much, and it's great to be here.
Thank you, District Governor-elect Michael. It's great to have you here. We're glad you enjoy our weather, because we don't. Next, I'd like to invite District Governor-elect Anne Egan, also from Australia. Please join me.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Anne.
Good evening, everyone, and many thanks to the Town Board for giving us this opportunity. We arrived in the US 7 days ago, and at that stage I would have said to you, "G'day." But in the last week I've managed to learn to speak English, so I've dropped that one out. I've willingly left our 90 degrees temperature today back in Murwillumbah in Australia behind, because I have to say that the warmth of the Brighton Rotary Club, its members and the people of Brighton are such that it's far warmer here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. It's wonderful having you here. And finally, from Indonesia, Gunawan Chokrojojo. Mr. Governor, welcome.
Supervisor Bill and dignitaries,
really very happy to be here and very honored to be given this opportunity. And I'm sure that not only the Rotary District 3 for 1020 that I'm leading now, that will learn from what is happening tonight, but also the Republic of Indonesia. To be able to listen to what people, the people of the town wish to say, and then something will be happening and making for the betterment of everything. Now, I invited you all to come to Indonesia. It is really very beautiful. If you don't believe, you can always ask President Obama, because his childhood, he spent it in Indonesia. Now, may I present a little thing about Indonesia to Supervisor? This is what you call the batik cloth. You put wax on it and dip it in one color. You put another wax after you wash it with hot water and dip it in another color. And so here we are, Indonesia from Sumatra all the way to Papua.
District Governor Lakunawan, thank you so much. I'm so appreciate your generous gift. And it's wonderful to have all of you here. Again, Rotary is an international service club, and the men and women that are here representing Rotary and their spouses really reflect that Rotary is much more than just a local organization. It is truly an organization that works internationally to bring peace to the world. And goodness knows we need that today more than ever. So I'm glad you all were able to come here and bring your Rotary Fellowship with you. We wish you all the best on the rest of your stay here in the Rochester area. We hope it won't be below zero again tonight for you, but if it is, we know the hospitality will still be warm. So thank you very much. We welcome you to stay for the meeting, but we understand you've got very busy schedules and might not want to do that. But thank you. Oh, yes. Thanks, Pete. I'm now going to ask Police Chief Mark Henderson to join me here at the podium.
I even look short next to you, Supervisor. Thank you. I announced to the town board late last year that the Drug Enforcement Administration is getting out of the pharmaceutical collection business. They started the pharmaceutical take-back initiatives about 6 years ago. Very early on, they reached out to partners across the country and did not get a lot of participation. From the beginning, the town of Brighton participated in the drug take-back initiatives, and it's because of our participation that other police agencies in Monroe County participated. Special Agent Timothy Kernan of the Rochester office recognized our efforts. The DEA would come out, we do 2 take-backs every year, and they would come certify that we are taking back the collections as per federal policy. They are now out of the business. I did announce to you that Monroe County has agreed to take any pharmaceuticals that are collected both through take-backs and through drug boxes to Niagara Falls twice a year. So we are going to continue on with that farm take-back. I have 2 proclamations or certificates I'd like to present. Supervisor, you're here to collect one of them, and Louise, if you could join us up here to collect the other. So, as the federal government works, there's a memorandum from a supervisor to another supervisor to the DEA special agent in charge in New York City. And I'll give you a copy of this, but I'll summarize. It basically talked about our efforts here in Monroe County in the Rochester area in pharmaceutical takebacks. And it's because the Rochester, they call it the resident office, has collected over 50,000 pounds since its inception. Brighton has participated in 7 take-back events. I thought we did a little bit more. And they attribute the town to collecting 7,200, actually almost 8,000 pounds of pharmaceutical take-backs, and 24 participants or residents had gone through the initiative. They're acknowledging the achievement was in due in large part to the Brighton Town Council, the town of Brighton, and in particular you, Louise. You were the spearhead. Tim Kernan, he would come every time. He would talk to me. I'd point him to you. I'd talk about your efforts. It wouldn't be because of you that we were putting the amount of resources. Appreciate the towns. It does take quite a bit to do that. We had a number of staff there. And then I'll just, it goes on in government ease. It says, therefore, it is requested that they be recognized. I was given a certificate, Captain Klein, and Investigator Karch as well. It's a really nice DEA certificate. Basically says, therefore, it is requested that they be recognized for their highly commendable service to the DEA, the environment, and most importantly, to the residents of Brighton, New York. And they're presenting us with a DEA Certificate of Appreciation to acknowledge and thank us for our past support of the program. And Supervisor, this is the one to the town of Brighton. And Louise, this is the one for you. So, with a copy of the letter, and Bill, I gave you a copy of the letter, so.
I'd like to thank you and thank the DEA for this wonderful certificate. Also, I prefer to say 4 tons instead of 8,000 pounds. But yes, people are consistently saying as they drive up and hand us their meds, thank you for doing this. This is so great. We didn't know what to do with the stuff. So it's really important that we continue to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark and Louise. You know, Louise really did spearhead this program and has continued to do that. And although we don't quite have the date set yet for the spring, I know we will very shortly. I do also want to note, Mark left a few parts out of that letter. The letter also thanked the efforts of the Brighton Police Department. These drug take-back events cannot be done without the participation of a law enforcement agency, because frankly, some of the pills that are coming back in are narcotic in nature. So throughout every one of these takebacks, there's been someone from the Brighton Police Department there. So in that letter that Mark conveniently forgot to read, there are thanks given not only to the Brighton Police Department as a whole, but also to Chief Henderson, to Captain Bob Klein, and to Investigator Tim Karch, all of whom have played a major role in the program and frankly in keeping the program going now, even after the DEA is out of the business. So I want to thank you, Mark, and please share our gratitude with the members of the department. We will now continue with the open forum portion of the meeting. During the open forum, members of the audience may address the board about any matter, whether or not it is on our agenda for the evening. If you are here to address a matter that is on the agenda as a public hearing, and we do have one public hearing tonight concerning a proposed local law concerning animal care, if you would like your comments to be on the record of that public hearing, please wait until the public hearing is called and you will have the opportunity to speak and have your input entered into the record of that public hearing. I will recognize members of the audience wishing to speak during the open forum. When recognized, please come to the podium. If you would, please give your name and address. Please address your comments to the board and not to other members of the audience. Please be courteous and please try to keep your comments as concise as possible. Before we do begin the open forum, I do want to introduce one very special member of the crowd this evening. Sheila Culhane watches our board meetings from home, and Sheila's home is our new group home across the street here on Elmwood Avenue. Those of you that have been in town for a number of years remember that was the former Awatka House, where young men from the industry school down in Rush would live, transitioning back into the community. But last year, a new house, a new home was built, and 8 special adults who had been living together in Henrietta in a 2-story home, but who needed the opportunity to move into a 1-story home, moved into this new home from Henrietta. And I must say, Sheila, you and your fellow residents so warmly welcomed me to your holiday party last month. You told me how excited you are, that you watch our meetings all the time, and we wanted to welcome you, and Town Board member Louise Novros also invited you, and I think made arrangements to bring you here tonight. So Sheila, welcome, and thank you for watching us, and thank you for being with us tonight. And we welcome you anytime you'd like to come to one of our meetings. We're just always happy to have you here.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila. We'll now begin the open forum portion of the meeting. Is there anyone that would like to address the town board during the open forum? Marge? Would you, can you go, okay. I wasn't sure whether you needed the microphone to come back there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's been a while since I've been at the town board. My name is Marjorie Alamo, 90 Towpath Lane, town of Brighton. From the car accident in 2008, I've had 56 major surgeries. I have 3 more going, one in January this year, 1 in February, and 1 in March. I wish I knew how to get rid of that no-fault insurance program that New York State has. If anybody's got any ideas, give them to me and I'll work on it. It's cost us way into the thousands for equipment and so on, and the insurance company did not pay. So I still hate that Holiday Inn. I'm sorry, I just got out of the hospital. I got a knee replacement, and I had eye surgery, and what have you. Okay, I'm still going to say something about the car wash. I know you police officers are very, very busy. You can't be everywhere at every moment. They cannot make a left-hand turn and stop the traffic from Clover Street going across Monroe Avenue. They block it. And it is a nightmare. I understand what they're doing. They want to go left. The other thing is that nobody can do anything about the side street coming out of Mann's Jewelers, that plaza there, to make a left-hand turn or to make a right going in. When they make a left-hand turn, they block the traffic coming down Clover Street because they pull out to make the left, and then us on Towpath, we're trying to get out to make a left, and we just can't do it. I've mentioned this many, many times. Okay, I don't know how much the red lights cost, cameras. I'll pay for one if you put it at Monroe and Clover. The other day we were making a left going up Clover Street. 5 cars blocked us from making the left-hand turn. They just ran the red light. They didn't wait. We had the arrow, but they didn't care. Ouch. Okay. The last one is the one I had 2 phone calls 2 days ago from 2 Brighton police officers asking me, how did you hear about the sex offender in the town of Brighton? I don't understand why a police officer has to ask me, how did I hear about it? That's not the problem. The problem is that certain people got notified and the whole town did not. We pay taxes. We have a right to know. You probably saw the woman that got her purse snatched up at East Avenue Wegmans. They reached out and pulled her purse. I've been preyed upon at Wegmans at Pittsford Plaza. I now go and 2 guys walk me to my car, as I don't walk very well. And I appreciate Wegmans' help for doing that for me. But the town should know, not just the ones that have children. I'm sorry that I feel this way. I got the phone calls. I'm laying in bed sick, looking forward to 3 more surgeries that I don't know if I'm going to come out of them or not. But I'm kind and cordial to these people who say, we heard. We heard? We heard. And I say, yes. Yes. Mark, Sergeant Henderson, one of your men, of course, I said 2 Brighton police officers. You know who one is, I'm sure. I don't want to give names. I will if you want it. Is that a yes? You want me to give the name of the police officer?
I think, Marge, what
I'd
I'd
rather not.
If you'd like to give it to Chief
Quietly,
Henderson
yes.
afterwards.
I said I'd rather not.
Be good.
You know, I understand everything. I'm not stupid. I'm 74, but I'm not stupid. Okay? But where's the restriction on this police or this pedophile? Where's the restrictions? Can he go outside of Brighton? Can he walk down the sidewalks? Can he cross the road? Can he go in the stores? Has he got a monitor on his leg? What has he got? How do we know? We don't know, and it's not in the paper. I had to call the school district to get this note, and I knew something was wrong in August, but I had my knee surgery then, and I was working with that and therapy and everything, but something was eating my gut, just like it did back in 1991 when I called the FBI and said, there's something wrong here. I don't know what it is, but here's the information, check it out. There's an old saying, you got a problem, you can't handle it yourself? Give it to somebody that's got the authority and can. Give the problem away, and then you can rest and let them handle it. They're educated, they're lawyers, let them handle it. So that's how I think. And this kept eating at me. And it happened last week. Stop the car. Just like that other incident that Chief Henderson knows about. I couldn't, it's right here. The answer's right here. What is it? It's hard when you have these premonitions and these things, and you got to try to figured him out or let him go. I can't let it go. I saved 2 girls from jumping off the bridge by Arby's on 590 through one of my premonitions. I called 911 and I said, I'm sorry, this is the way it is. They called me back an hour and a half later and said, we got them. I thanked them. This Supervisor Maley should go out to every citizen in the town of Brighton. Just because it says a 10-year-old, if this guy's got the urge, maybe he wants a 40-year-old or a handicapped person such as myself or someone else. Who's to say it's limited to 10 years old? Think about it, okay? Not just the children, okay? I would like to know in the future, in the next 2 weeks before I go in the hospital, Chief Henderson could send me a letter saying whether or not this gentleman has got ankle bracelet restrictions. I'd like to know for my safety and the people around me. I'm concerned about everybody in the town of Brighton. I don't want to say anymore. You know who I'm talking about. Do you have a copy of this? Supervisor Maley, do you have a copy of this?
I have seen, but
Yes
I'm
or
gonna
no?
I'm going to ask Chief Henderson to
I got 4
address-
copies I will share. That's it.
I'm going to ask Chief Henderson to address how information about sex offenders is disseminated. I know he will reach out to you
Actually,
and discuss.
I'll meet you out in the hall after we're done. And I did have a
Good,
member
because
of-
my feet are burning from diabetes.
Yeah, if you wanna-
Yep,
I did
feel
have a
free to
member of
sit down.
senior staff call you back to give you an indication. A brief overview of the sex offender management. It's based and it's predicated upon a designation of risk and future risk. A level 3 sex offender is considered to be the most at risk. A level 3 sex offender, we do a community-wide notification. We do so in conjunction with our partners at the school district. We also do so with our partners in the media, as well as the internet.
The media didn't even know anything about it. Neither did your 2 police officers.
A level 2 sex offender is considered to be moderate risk. The offender that you are talking about is a level 2 sex offender that moved into Brighton. He reported as he did, as was required and is required by law. Part of that reporting notification process is a monitoring aspect that we will do from the Brighton Police Department. You asked about stipulations in terms and condition of his release. The individual is not on probation. We cannot mandate where this individual can go, where he cannot go. We cannot mandate that he wear an ankle bracelet. I do have staff. I do have a captain that's assigned to sex offender management. Supervisor, typically the community notification is determined based upon the level of designation as well as what the law allows us to do in the level of designation. We are limited, some of the restrictions on what we can release publicly relative to level 2 sex offenders are changing. We do use the internet. We do use the school district as a conduit to mail. We look at the vulnerability, the prior incident, and that's part of our strategy for community notification. And Marge, what I plan on doing is having a one-on-one meeting with you out in the hall.
Yeah, I'm just feeling stupid that I get 2 phone calls from the Brighton Police and neither one of them knew about it. Don't you have a meeting to explain and give them a photograph of the guy so that if they're riding down Monroe Avenue or East Avenue or whatever street, that, hey, there's a girl walking down the street and here's a car with that guy, here's his photo, holy mackerel. I think I'll stop him and say, what are you doing over here following that girl? I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. I've seen it happen. And I can't stand by and watch it happen to somebody in this town or any other town.
Thank you,
No
Marge.
police officer didn't know.
And I know the chief will talk with you outside. I just want to address the red light camera issue. Under state law, red light cameras are only allowed in certain cities. Rochester is permitted to choose to have red light cameras. They have done so, although that, after their initial trial, continues under review as to whether they will continue to use them. But the town of Brighton is not allowed under state law to use red light cameras.
Oh, if I get well, I'll be out there, be the red light, okay? And I'll take the photographs and the place and the license plate numbers. This is really ridiculous, okay? And so, okay, no red light. What about the exit coming out of Mann's Jewelers? Stop some of that.
I'm familiar with the exit, of course. That there is
There's
a
no reason
driveway
for
there.
it. There's no reason for it. You block it off. They want to go to Clover Street, let them go down to the front. There's an exit in front, and there's another exit. They can choose to pull down to the one by the house there and go out that way, make a left, and get in the turn lane, okay? Or they can pull out the one behind Bagels and turn there if there's an opening.
Marge,
and not use that at all.
the town of Brighton only has jurisdiction over curb cuts on town highways. Clover Street is not a town highway. We do not have the power to either block or create curb cuts
Okay,
along
you tell me who, and
Clover
I'll
Street.
take care of it.
The State Department of Transportation, that part of Clover Street is a state
Okay, do
highway.
you have a direct name and direct address?
If,
I'll take care of it while I'm recuperating from one of my surgeries.
we can, Tim, if you have contact information now, maybe you can share that with Marge. Otherwise, if you would just make sure you get that information to her, I'd appreciate it. Thanks, Tim. Thank you, Marge. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the town board? Yes, come on up.
Hi, good evening. My name is Susan Hughes Smith, and we've lived in Brighton for, I think this is our 9th year now. We live on Edgewood Avenue. And I was coming to, for one, thank the town for their previous support against fracking. That town level support has been instrumental across the state. And I came to speak regarding your resolution 25 about the storage of liquefied propane in the salt caverns of Seneca Lake. To add my support that you would pass a resolution against that. I don't know if you're also aware there are actually 2 issues occurring at Seneca Lake. The Federal Energy Regulatory Committee, FERC, has already permitted the storage of methane, and Crestwood Energy is busy building out for compressor stations and to store methane in these unlined salt caverns where the salt is interbedded with shale, which makes it a more risky proposition. Some risk analysis by scientists in that area have found a 35% chance of an explosive event occurring in 20 years. That could put communities as far as, I believe, as Geneva at risk, depending on the amount of methane that they are permitted to store. So there's some immediate risk to those communities based on the methane that's currently been permitted. If Brighton can at some point take a stand on that issue as well, or if anyone listening has a desire to call Senator Schumer or Gillibrand to request a FERC hearing, because it does look like they have overstepped the process and not done a full evaluation and considered the risks to communities. That would be awesome. gases, the propane and the butane, which Gas-Free Seneca is working to stop, and your resolution is, I believe, is specifically addressing. Yeah, that is wonderful to support that, and I appreciate that, because of course, I believe the defining issue for our time is going to be what we do about climate change. And we know scientifically that 80% of fossil fuels have to stay in the ground. That includes all of these natural gases. So I thank Brighton for joining climate smart communities. I hope we can continue to be very aggressive as individuals, as towns, and apply that pressure to our state and federal government so we can get a change so that my children and your children or grandchildren or whoever else will have a future as enjoyable as our own. Thank you.
Thank you. This proposed facility is an example, frankly, of why the town of Brighton, when we did adopt first a moratorium and ultimately a law under our home rule powers prohibiting fracking, we didn't just prohibit fracking in Brighton. We also prohibited various ancillary activities that often accompany hydrofracking because those are heavy industrial activities. Those are activities that, frankly, over the years in our local land use control, we have determined that there is no place in Brighton that is suitable for heavy industrial activities. People have sometimes asked me, why did you adopt a ban against fracking? Isn't the Marcellus Shale down farther? Yes, it is. The Utica Shale underlies Brighton, however, and the Utica Shale is being drilled in other states. But in some ways, just as importantly, these ancillary activities to hydrofracking would have a severely negative impact on our town, and I do believe pose serious risks on Seneca Lake and in other areas. We've seen, for example, how injection wells that are used in some states to return fracking wastewater back into the ground have been associated with earthquakes. Earthquakes have the potential to undermine those salt caverns with potentially serious impacts. So I appreciate your coming in and sharing your thoughts. Anna, would you like to?
Good evening. I'm Anna Sears, 3021 Elmwood Avenue, Brighton resident for over 20 years and co-founder of Our Cause. I come before you this evening to ask the board to please adopt a resolution or letter of support in opposition to the plan to store LPG in the salt mines along Seneca Lake just 2 miles north of Watkins Glen. New York State's ban against fracking is a tremendous and extraordinary victory for the anti-fracking movement, but the infrastructure build-out, to reiterate what Supervisor Maley just said, the infrastructure build-out from all the fracking in Pennsylvania and beyond, which includes pipelines, compressor stations, waste treatment and storage, trains carrying crude oil from the Bakken Shale, storage of gas, etc., continues to severely impact our state and distract from switching over to renewable energy. One of the gas infrastructure issues of major concern for the Greater Finger Lakes region including Monroe County, is Crestwood Midstream's plan to turn these depleted salt mines into the gas storage and distribution hub for the Northeast. The expansion of gas storage along Seneca Lake not only threatens the water supply for Finger Lakes residents, but it threatens the economic health of this region that has an international brand to protect. If we abandon our values to cater to the gas industry, we will take on the risks and outsource all the benefits. As part of the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Council, Rochester and all Monroe County municipalities need to exercise due diligence in protecting the water, air, environment, quality of life, and the burgeoning agricultural, wine, and tourist industries in this region. I am proud that my town, Brighton, was the first in the county to ban fracking and its ancillary activities. I trust it will continue in that vein and reach out to help protect our spectacular world-renowned Finger Lakes from heavy, dirty industry. I submit a map showing Seneca Lake regional governments and businesses opposed to gas storage and the press advisory, including a press conference this Friday at the downtown Radisson Hotel. This press conference is titled "The Finger Lakes Wineries, Businesses, Municipalities, Organizations Announced Filing for Upcoming Issues Conference in Opposition to Gas Storage Facility That Threatens Finger Lakes Region." It's this Friday, January 16th, 10:30 at the Radisson Hotel, 120 East Main Street, in the Douglas Room, and then go up the escalator to the second floor off the main lobby.
Is that in Geneva? Is that
Oh,
the?
that's here, Rochester.
Oh, the downtown, okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay.
I do hope some of you will be able to attend. There'll be some terrific speakers and a lot to learn from people from the Seneca Lake region. We all have to remember we live downstream of the Finger Lakes.
And yeah, if you'd like to share those written materials with the clerk, well, we'll enter them into the record of the meeting tonight. It is the last item on the agenda, but I certainly hope my colleagues will join me in acting on that resolution. Thank you very much. Is there anyone, Judy?
Before you leave, I want to echo ditto what they both said. I had marked it on my agenda as well. And I'm hoping that the town will take the correct action to deny permission for this action to be taken on Seneca Lake. We've been, as I've said on other occasions, very proactive on really important issues, and I'm proud of our town for doing that. And I am looking forward to that same level of pride tonight. So thank you for putting it on the agenda. However, I am here because, Jim, it's that time of year. I have the flyer out for, you should have all received it via email.
Yes, I did.
I am saving paper as well. And our Brighton Neighbors United Supper is March 1st. I have some flyers out on the table there, and wanted to let you know it's at 6 o'clock. And we have an interesting program this year. Bunny Goldstein, who happens to be a neighbor of mine, but also a wonderful artist and an expert in egg tempera painting, which is a medieval technique. And she teaches it at Brighton High School. And several people have taken it and thought it would be an interesting thing for her to come and talk about it. So it's a wonderful time. You bring a dish to pass. It's $5 a person, and all the information is on here about sending it back. And I did speak with Dan. I was hoping that maybe we could either put it on our website, people could download it and send it in, and or Steve is gone, but on the scroll, because we've done that in the past. So I thank you and look forward to seeing all of you. And it's open to everyone in Brighton.
Thank you so much, Judy. It is a great event, always something to look forward to. Is there anyone else that would like to address the town board? Yes, sir.
My name's Cornelius Herring. I live at 2030 Elmwood Avenue. And I really represent my wife here. She couldn't come. This morning we were reading an article in the paper about the probability of an extra 1,000 railroad tankers coming along the lines here because the delays in the Keystone Pipeline. My question to the town board is there an emergency evacuation program in place, or is it being developed? Is it thought about?
Mark, I don't know whether you heard the question, but it is a concern that people have expressed. We do have the main CSX line running through town. The article in the paper this morning about the increased oil traffic potential depending on what happens with the Keystone Pipeline. But regardless of the Keystone Pipeline, there is a significant amount of traffic now, and the question really related to preparedness, evacuation, preparedness and the like.
I can tell you that the fire service, the EMS service, and law enforcement, this is a concern that is on our radar, if you will. Chief McAdam, if he's watching, I'm sure he'll agree that the fire side carries a brunt of preparation and planning, and there has been a pooling of assets, if you will, to see what resources exist should a catastrophe happen, what firefighting procedures, what firefighting techniques they'll approach a disaster with. There's also a training component that is occurring nationally, a specialized tanker that came to the Rochester region. The fire service was able to do some training on the tankers. From the law enforcement perspective, we have emergency plans in place dependent upon where, time of day, wind conditions. We will pool our resources. We will work, a majority of the line runs through the city of Rochester. We'll work with our partners at the RPD, the New York State Police, the Monroe County Sheriffs. We have talked. Our plans, I believe, are general enough that we can adapt our plans to this type of an emergency. But from a specific standpoint, the fire service, they are very concerned and they are taking the appropriate steps.
I'm glad that they're very concerned, but with the rapidly increasing volume of oil,
Right.
are the preparations also rapidly increased?
I do believe there, and again, Jason, I know we had a presentation at Public Safety as to what materials that they stage to fight an oil fire, and there was some type of a collection of data. And again, I'm not, and I don't profess to be a fire chief. I don't know what type of materials that is, but they talked about them. From a law enforcement perspective, I can talk about responding to an emergency with the resources that we have, the plan that would be in place to come in and get additional assets, and we'd probably get statewide assets from the state police.
And if necessary, presumably the police department would be involved in if an evacuation were necessary.
If an evacuation was ordered, there are procedures in place, procedures that we have practiced in the past. We have access to buses, if you will, if we need to move and stage and shelter in place residents. It would all be contingent. I know we have railroad in the west part of Brighton. We have railroad that comes through the center of town and in the north part of town. And it's really incumbent upon the specific area that you will, if there's an emergency and then our plans in place, we would roll them out.
Chief, I think it might be a good idea too, perhaps to put that on the agenda during our networking session at one of our public safety committee meetings where we will have Brighton Fire available, we'll have the police department available, just so everybody can
Yes.
be up to.
Brighton Volunteering
And
Ambulance.
you would be welcome to attend. I certainly will reach out to Chief McAdam and Captain Luna from the RFD.
Right.
I know they talked about some of the measures being taken, and
Right.
as you did, sir, our partners in the fire side raised a concern on the volume and preparing for a disaster is something that we're trying to do. Thanks.
So the Public Safety Committee we meet on the second Tuesday of the month at 8 o'clock in the morning in the lower level community meeting room. So the next meeting will be on February 10th.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the town board during the open forum? Hearing none, we will continue with the agenda. And can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda, including receiving the materials that the earlier speaker submitted to the town clerk?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve and file the town board meeting minutes for December 22nd, 2014 town board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Public hearings. We do have one public hearing tonight concerning proposed local law number 1 of 2015, the animal care local law, and I'll ask the town clerk, has the legal notice been given in this matter?
It has, and the date escapes me, but I'll have that in a minute.
while you're getting that, this proposed local law is a matter that our town board committees have discussed at some length, and woodwork amendments to our existing law relating to animals. And once we've got the publication information, I'll call the public hearing open, and I'll ask our Commissioner of Public Works, Tim Keefe, maybe to just speak briefly to these proposed amendments.
It did not make the folder, but I will be right back.
Okay. Well, as you're doing that, I'll declare the public hearing to be open, and would ask Commissioner of Public Works, Tim Keefe, if you would just briefly summarize the proposed changes that this local law would make.
I'd be happy to, Supervisor. As you know, and as the Public Works Committee knows, this has been well researched and well reviewed and well commented upon predominantly during last year. It made it to numerous Public Works Committee meetings in an effort to go over comments that we received and try to address those comments. In a summary, the law before you basically better identifies and defines the size of the parcel and the permitted animals that you are able to have on those parcels that we feel, based upon all the reviews and discussions that we had, that are most appropriate, if you want to call it, uses. One of the, I guess the high points from the standpoint of during, in a single-family neighborhood where there's a dwelling, is that you are able to have a maximum of 6 chickens, and and their accommodations, if you will, which is a chicken coop. It defines where you're permitted to have that in the rear yard and the distance it needs to be from the adjoining properties, and that the size, and it has to meet the building code. I think one of the most poignant parts of that part of the revisions is that roosters are not permitted in smaller residential lot neighborhoods. If you go back to a little earlier in the amendments, there are animals that are allowed, as outlined within the revisions, that can be had on a 5-acre or larger parcel, and that could be contiguous parcels as well under one ownership. But that gets into talking about sheep, cows, cattle, llamas, goats, horses, ponies, and pigs.
But again, only in lots larger than 5 acres.
Only in larger lots. And I think one of the things to note is that the term farm that was used in previous sections of the code is now been replaced with this better definition, because farming is we don't really have an agricultural zoning in town, but farming can be constituted by many things, so it leaves a lot to the interpretation, if you will. And that was part of the discussions that we had. So, and that wasn't an all-inclusive list of what is permitted in the 5 acres or larger lots bill, but that's sort of the, an overview of it. And finally, all of these animals are to be used for personal use only. They cannot be for commercial, enterprises, as far as selling products or things of that nature. And so they are generally termed as pets. So if you want to have your pet emus, then that would be for your own personal use, not to run a business, no matter where you are in town, in an inappropriate zoning. And that has also been another one of the issues that, since you have become supervisor, that we have had wrestled with as well. So this goes a long way towards defining the issues that we've encountered and tried to address as people do strive for more sustainability and perhaps maybe organic or more control over what the products that they ingest or use for food preparation. So I think the committee itself, and I think the board, I think Ken, we've all looked at this, and thanks again to the public for a lot of the input, because like I said, it probably was 3 or 4 public works committees last year that we reviewed this, and it was exhaustive in our opinion. So that's sort of the overview of what the changes are proposed here tonight.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, I think you've summed it up nicely. There is an effort here to balance interests of people who do want to, chickens being a great example. We've seen an increase in urban agriculture, and chickens have maybe been the most frequent manifestation of that. We have a number of people in town now that have chickens. There's at least one I know in my neighborhood, and I think several of you can say the same. And that's simply become a part of urban and suburban life. I think that the language we've used has tried to, as we do so often, we try to balance the interests of people in being able to use their property with making sure that at the same time excessive burdens are not placed on neighboring properties. So, for example, the language relating to chicken coops is a good example of that, both from a visual and, frankly, from an odor perspective. Well, we were concerned about where they would go, and so I appreciate everybody, and as you said, certainly the public as well. I learned from that discussion. So, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this proposed local law during the public hearing? Is there anyone on the board?
I'd just like to say that most people, if they have animals, that they're usually dogs or cats, and the law says that not more than 3 dogs shall be permitted per dwelling unit. And if one of the dogs, if it's a female dog who has puppies, the litter can stay in the house for 4 months, and then they have to. You can only have 3 total.
Right.
Does it say? I didn't see anything in here about cats.
There is not.
Okay.
So, I have a question
Sure.
regarding if somebody wanted to apply for a variance from this, would it be a typical area variance application before the Zoning Board of Appeals, or would there be criteria to guide that?
I think, Jason, everyone always has the opportunity to appeal based upon that, and I think it would be, whether it be a bulk variance or it be specifically to some aspect of this, because they wanted to put the chicken coop in a different location in their yard or not. I think it would refer, generally would fall back to this specific portion of the code that they would be seeking a variance from, and it'd probably be relative to the size of their parcel or the location of the chicken coops and the animals that they could keep.
The number of
in either respect, right?
Right. If somebody wanted to have 4 dogs, or if somebody wanted to have
Correct.
7 chickens, or something
Correct.
like that. Okay. Right,
Bill, I
thanks.
would say, as chair for the Public Works, we aired this several months consecutively to make sure that we had this right in terms of preparing for this public hearing. And all these meetings, that we have, our subcommittee meetings are all open to the public, and we got good input on that.
We did. Again, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address Judy?
Judy Schwartz, 179 Ashbourne Road. I do want to thank you because we've had a resident rooster on our street for quite some time, and I understand the first one unfortunately passed away, and the owner got another one. And you can hear it from several streets around and from many houses around. I don't know if there's, any sort of a coop for it or where it stays. It's in a backyard, I'm pretty sure, but it can be heard. So thank you for that. I hope that this will take care of our situation, but time
It has
will
always been
tell.
our policy
Not to.
allow
I know.
roosters, but this codifies it into law.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks, Judy. If there are no further comments, obviously the board will have a chance to comment, but Dan?
I just wanted to circle back. Apologize. I did not have
thank
the
you.
affidavit in the folder because the Post has not yet sent me an affidavit. So I was looking for something I haven't received. But it was in the just January 8th edition of the Brighton Fitzer Post.
Thank you. Ken, did you?
Yeah, I'm searching for something and not finding it. The question that is gnawing at me is if somebody currently has an animal on their property which would be violative of these provisions. I know these provisions are intended to go into effect immediately. I just can't put my finger on what it is, how much time they have to comply. Tim?
Ken, I think most things that I'm familiar with is you usually have 30 days to become compliant, and obviously this does not permit or entertain grandfathering situations in, but I would think that a notice would be sent out, as we typically do, probably a good neighbor letter advising people of such and requesting that they remedy the situation in a certain amount of time. But again, you are correct. But I think in the lot there was 30 days that I saw when I was going through this.
I thought I saw something like that in one of the drafts
Yes,
as well.
compliance. Well, under D, compliance required. It does say that they have 30 days to rectify the situation.
Okay.
So
Correct.
that is in there. I think you were asking specifically if there was an existing condition, so I think that would probably apply as well.
That is the language.
Yeah.
Section 3D.
There it is, yeah. It just wasn't underlined.
Again, is there anyone else that would like to address the board? And obviously, board members will have an opportunity when we vote to say anything further. Hearing nothing, I declare this public hearing to be closed. Can I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
The matter before us regarding the update on our code, I move on this resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
And just to clarify, that is proposed local law number 1 of 2015.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
I think we thanked everybody, but we may not have thanked our staff. And thanks to you, Tim, but also the other members of Public Works staff
Pass it along, Bill.
who helped
Yes,
guide
they-
everybody through.
Yes, they were very involved in this laborious process at times because there were a lot of things brought to our attention, and the code, the changes that are here reflect some of the concessions that we made in those discussions. So we think it's a very solid piece of, legislation here for the town.
Good. And I vote aye. Next, bids. Chris.
Bill, the next matter is to seek approval to solicit proposals as necessary for particular materials and services for the highway and sewer departments during 2015. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
Discussion.
Bill, this was discussed at FASC, and this is just for the solicitation of proposals for necessary materials that we use in our departments.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio? Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Bill, the next matter is similar, seeking approval to solicit proposals as needed for particular materials and services for the Department of Public Works and Parks Departments for 2015. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Communications, can I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Second.
I would note the first item of communication, a correspondence from County Executive Maggie Brooks, as required by law, summarizing the terms of the county's budget. We also have correspondence from a Brighton business owner thanking Chief Henderson and myself. We hold our Citizens Police Academy, and this gentleman asked to be a part of it. He doesn't live in Brighton, but as he said, he spends most of his waking hours in Brighton because he is a Brighton business owner, and I appreciate you, Mark, and the department deciding it's a great idea to have him there. We've talked about some other things we can do to bring the police department closer to our business community. I know your force is in and around our businesses on a regular basis, but it's good to have some systematic contact.
Continue on with some formalized, we've called it community engagement in the past, and we're going to move into a community outreach, and that's what this helps us to do.
Thank you. We also have correspondence relating to a milling and paving project by the State Department of Transportation. We also had correspondence at our last meeting, but this relates to planned work this summer along Route 441, Route 250, and Route 31 state highways. The Brighton impact is a relatively small part of 441 from East Avenue to the town Penfield line. But they will be, they're indicating to us that they will be reaching out to residents and business owners in the area. They are asking to do night work. I've had a discussion with the DOT folks. I know you have as well, Tim, and they have a meeting coming up with us in Penfield, you know, to discuss our concerns and, you know, frankly, the issues that we like to see relating to night work to minimize the amount of noise and disturbance to our residents. And I'm hopeful that we'll work with them as we generally do as, you know, a good partnership, good neighbors. Anything else? We have a motion and a second to receive and file the
Bill, there was
communication.
one other matter of interest to me, at least. The Seth Weed House over on 2533 Clover has been designated by our Brighton Historic Preservation Commission as a landmark.
It's a beautiful, beautiful structure.
Actually, it's somewhat of a rundown structure, but it's
but it is
historically
but it is a
significant.
significant. You're right. Beautiful is probably not the right word.
Beautiful,
but it is significant. Yeah,
it's
not every historic structure is beautiful.
Yeah, our town historian says that she believes, and based on the best information she had, last surviving residential structure on the pathway of the old Erie Canal.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to receive and file those. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Committee reports, Louise?
Where are we here? The Parks and Recreation and Community Services Committee has not met since the last meeting. Our next meeting is on the 26th of January at the Brookside School at 4:30 in the afternoon, and everybody is welcome to come. I do have an announcement from the Rec Department. They're having an event on January 25th, and they're calling it the Cure Your Cabin Fever Day. And it's from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon at Brookside, and there will be district sale vendors there. They will have gym activities for the kids, instructor demonstrations like the Rochester Fencing Club and Zumba. Farmers Market will be there from 1 to 4. Brighton, your wardrobe, will have used clothing for sale, and the Brighton Recreation will be open for program registrations. This is a no football Sunday, so please join for some fun at the event. If you want more details, there are flyers. I believe there's going to be flyers here.
Right outside.
And you can go to www.townofbrighton.org/rec, R-E-C. And it sounds like it's going to be a very fun event, upcoming January event. The other thing, we talked very briefly about it, that I am in the process of setting the dates for the upcoming 4 recycling or clean sweep events. So there, we will be having the pharmaceutical take back, the clean sweep, electronics, and the shredding. And it'll be starting sometime in April and going through May.
But we have a date, do we, for a clean sweep?
Well, it's according to it's supposed to be on May 16th. May 16th, but I don't know if we're going to just switch that around or not yet.
All right. Thanks, Louise. Chris, Finance and Administrative Services.
Bill, Finance and Administrative Services met on January 6th, and all the matters discussed are on tonight's agenda, so we'll discuss those at length when we reach them. The next meeting is Tuesday, January 20th at 3:30 p.m., which will be in the Stage Conference Room behind us. The public is very welcome to attend.
Thank you. Jason, Public Safety?
Yes, Public Safety Committee met yesterday, and after the networking from all of the public safety agencies that serve the town of Brighton, we discussed two particular matters. One of them was the petition for speed limit reduction in the Monroe Meadows neighborhood. There's some streets are 30, some streets are 25, and we will be at our next town board meeting, we'll be setting a public hearing on reducing the speed limit to 25 all throughout that neighborhood. Additionally, we also received a petition for speed limit reduction over in the Southland, Furlong, Sylvia, and Doncaster neighborhoods. And over there, the speed limit is 30, and we received a request to reduce that to 25, and we'll be setting a public hearing at our next town board meeting regarding that matter. And just part of it is the question came up, why can't we just pass a resolution for all residential streets in the town of Brighton to be 25 miles an hour? And the reason is state law.
Yep.
State law, we can do that, but the lowest we can set it is 30 miles per hour. So any other further reductions require a local law in order to do that. So that's what we'll be doing in the upcoming, those public hearings will probably take place sometime in February, and it'll be before the town board. The next meeting of the Public Safety Committee will be on Tuesday, February 10th. We meet at 8 o'clock in the morning in the lower level community meeting room, and the public is invited to attend.
Thanks, Jason. And Jim, Public Works Committee.
Public Works Committee met this past January 6th at 9 a.m. And at that time, Chris chaired the meeting for me. And I would just say, and I'm going to turn it over to him to do the report. Our next meeting is always the first Tuesday of every month, and this next meeting will be February 3rd at 9 a.m. in the lower level community meeting room, and that is, again, the first Tuesday. So, Chris, would you do the honors?
And Jim, I got an appreciation for the role you play in the meeting, keep moving that along. It was a very long day on January 6th, starting with this meeting. But we discussed the infrastructure, drainage, and sanitary sewer project over at in the Rowlands tract, and the DPW and the highway staff are continuing their process of a physical survey of the neighborhood, including collecting topographic and utility information. They will continue to gather that information as seasonal conditions allow. It will be combined with other data for a comprehensive assessment of the drainage issues over in that neighborhood. Also, the U of R came in with their incentive zoning. We discussed the U of R South Campus IPD proposal and their incentive zoning application. Representatives of the university provided an update relative to the project and the status of the process, which was anticipated to be presented here tonight, but that's been extended out, I believe. Is that correct, Bill? Also, the sustainability regarding the town code and the alternative energy sources and how our code should address that was discussed. Particularly the solar energy ordinance was presented to the committee for its review and comment. This matter will be revisited after responses have been received from the various members. The thought there from the Sustainability Committee, of which I'm the liaison, was that we should do more to promote the installation of solar, and by having a separate section of our code, it would give people some parameters for consideration if they wanted to make that sort of installation. Also, we talked about a request to the DPW to install a pedestrian crossing in the vicinity of French Creek Drive along French Road. It was initiated on behalf of a legally blind resident by her disability advocate, and the town has taken this under consideration for installation later in 2015 as seasonal conditions would permit. and that would be perhaps just a crosswalk, perhaps signs in the area as well. And Jim has already, excuse me, and then we also had a discussion, request received by the DPW from residents along the east side of Clover Street between Elmwood and Highland Avenues, asking that the committee review the process for evaluating requests for the capital improvement project and installation of sidewalks along there. And right now, unfortunately, there's really no funding available to it, although we'll be on the lookout for additional grants. Sidewalks are a high priority, and we discussed how that process works, as well as sidewalk districts, although this is more heavily traveled arterial and wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for a sidewalk district. But this request will be considered during this year's upcoming CIP process. And other than that, for 3 hours, we had plenty to do.
It was a long meeting and a good
meeting.
report.
And
Thank
maybe you could have
both.
moved it along faster, Jim, but we were very thorough.
I doubt it.
Thank you. Those are our committee reports. New business. Chris, reading and approval of the claims.
Bill, tonight I've reviewed claims totaling $735.48 and 40. Excuse me, $735,000.
Yeah, I was going to say, whoa, we got all
big
busy.
numbers there. $48.49. The claims of significance. The largest was the Paris Kerwin insurance premium for comprehensive and liability coverage for $243,000. The Blue Cross Excellus health insurance claim for employees was $261,000. That was the lion's share of the items. But of interest was the unfortunate cost of $40,825 worth of rock salt. That's apparently going to be laid out on the street. I'm carrying a lot of it on my truck. If you would like it back. But that's a large expense. I'm glad to see we haven't had a huge amount of snow. Hopefully that hasn't been too much of an impact. I was
Knock on wood, everybody, but I saw the long-range forecast today.
Oh, is that right? I saw that Sue Garner-Smith is being allowed $13,000 for her really excellent work in coordinating the market and the garden, the town garden, and we really appreciate what she's done for the town. Those are great institutions. But also $2,800 for porous concrete installation training.
Yes.
And that's our new project. Is that right, Tim? You want to explain how that works?
Chris, that is correct. It's for Monroe Avenue, the GIGP, to put the porous concrete sidewalks in, which help with the stormwater mitigation and, I guess, credits towards stormwater filtration environmentally as the green infrastructure. We had to get our crews trained in that so they are able to do sidewalks that are permeable. It's a little different than doing the regular same old sidewalks. Yeah, the mix is different. How you actually finish the sidewalk is different, and we use the pilot project at the bank for our training.
That's Citizens, the Citizens Bank on Monroe Avenue. If you've never seen porous sidewalk, when the snow melts, go out and take a look.
Yeah. It is interesting.
It does have a little bit different look and feel to it.
It does, Bill. It does. So, so we had to get certified. Otherwise, the install, when we do it with our own crews, would not be eligible for reimbursement by the state.
So it's great we had that trial project, and now we're ready to go once the rest of the construction continues the next season. But, Bill, I find that the claims that I reviewed are appropriate, and I move that they be approved for payment.
Second.
I would do one thing you mentioned there, the Sue Gardner-Smith. For those of you that are participants or friends of the community garden, we've got a new fence in, replacing the old fence. They put it in some remarkably cold weather, but I think it's really going to look nice next season, and I think everybody's real pleased to see that going in. So
it's terrific. They put it in this.
Just before they really clamped down in the weather. So, thanks. We have a motion and a second on the claims. Any further comments?
I have a question about the $15,000 for Sue.
13.
I'm sorry, for what?
Sue Gardner-Smith.
13,000.
13,000. Yes.
Is that is that just a contribution, or is she going to be?
She's a contractor. She has a contract with the town every year, and her consideration under the contract was expanded 2 years ago when the market went full year. But that's the payment under the contract to do that work.
And I believe it's largely, if not all, covered by the fees.
Yes, it is.
Obtained from the,
100%.
Yep.
100%.
100%. So the market generates those fees, and I believe there's a permitting fee also in the community garden.
Correct. Yep.
So those entirely are covered. So it pays for itself, and Sue has just created a wonderful community asset in both instances.
Yep. For sure. Yep. Okay, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jason?
Next matter is for approval to amend the personnel policy relating to compensation for police captains. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Louise?
The next matter is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Value Payment Systems Company to provide third-party payment processing services for online dog licensing. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Dan, anything?
Just as continuing to investigate the abilities through the software vendor that we use for my clerk software. The back end of the online dog licensing, they don't actually do the payment processing themselves, and that agreement was separate from the one that the board had previously approved, and the way it was phrased didn't really have the wiggle room to say, oh yeah, this falls under that earlier resolution, so it really needed to be a separate agreement, and the attorney to the town and I are working with the vendor to work out the language of this new agreement. But this, again, just allows BAS, who's our software vendor, to have VPS handle the money for them.
And Dan, I saw amongst the claims, $1,740 for the dog license module. Is that part of that
Correct.
same system?
Yeah, so that's the contract, or that's the additional software we're getting from BAS. There's no additional fee for this agreement. This is just, again, allowing them to give us the, yes, you can give us the money that the residents are paying.
Thanks, Dan. We have a motion and a second on that. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to approve and adopt maintenance resolution pertaining to the table of maintenance jurisdiction listing associated with the Monroe Avenue Green Innovation Grant Program project. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Tim, you want to just explain what we mean by a table of maintenance jurisdiction listing?
I certainly would be glad to, Jim. And this is something the state typically does on any projects they do anyways, but we needed a permit for the project, the improvements we're making. We do not expect the state to maintain them. So to delineate the responsibility, anything that is being done as part of the project will have an ownership or somebody, an agency that's tagged for the responsibility in the future. Generally, that falls to the town. There may be some exceptions in there, but for the most part, the town is undertaking the project and will bear the brunt of all the future responsibilities.
And there are some, and in that table, it does list the maintenance obligations that the state has, right, but also the ones that we're committing to. And it's, it's part of what happens when you have the opportunity to do a project like this, and
yes, it is
something we're excited about.
As a point of clarification, why we're discussing this is because Monroe Avenue is a state road.
That's correct, Jim.
And,
sorry.
We're assuming as a town the responsibility, because it's part of this Monroe Avenue Grant Innovation Program that we have now underway.
but it's not, you know, the maintenance, not repaving Monroe
No, no,
Avenue or
no.
anything like that. It's some very specific,
Off-road.
real you know, off the pavement, some of the culvert-related,
The improvements that we make,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep.
So,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Please call the roll, Dan.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner? Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the Monroe County Department of Transportation to provide the Monroe County Department of Transportation with all-season road work during the year 2015. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And this is a contract that we enter every year, part of our extensive intergovernmental relations, where we provide services along county highways, removing things like dead animals, and the county reimburses us for those costs. Can I, any further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Chris?
Bill, the next item is to approve the acceptance of a donation of $250 from Dr. and Mrs. Sobel and record it as revenue within the 2015 Police Department operating budget for future use. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
This is a very generous donation that I've asked that the police department budget be amended and that we specifically earmark this money for the Brighton Police Explorer program. I did send a communication to Dr. and Mrs. Sobel thanking them for their generosity.
Thanks, Mark. And, you know, we talked about the pharmaceutical take back earlier. That's one of the areas where our police explorers, under the you know, advisement of investigator Tim Karch, who is their police advisor, have been very helpful to us. So that's a great way to use the money. Thank you very much, Dr. and Mrs. Sobel. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Louise?
The next matter is to authorize a bid award to responsive and responsible bidder 5 Star Improvements, Inc., to provide renovation services to the Carmen Clark Lodge kitchen. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And this will allow us to provide some much-needed improvements to that kitchen in the lodge.
Bill, I was pleased to report to the Sustainability Committee, and they were quite taken with the fact that we have eliminated the hot water heater there. It'll be a, what do you call it, on-demand system?
That's correct, Chris. It's on demand, and basically, it's situated in such a position that you don't have those long runs where the pipes get to cool down, and so when you turn it on, it just heats what you need, and it's not constantly heating all the time, which is a big energy consumption.
Yep.
So,
That's a great improvement.
yeah, a lot of credit goes to Mike, Chad, and Matt Beeman for you know, going through and looking at these, particularly Chad and Matt, and coming up with a few of these ideas that were not on the radar when we started, and we figured, you know, good time to do it.
That's great. Thanks, Tim. We have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jason?
Next matter is to appoint William W. Maley as the official delegate of the town for the annual business session of the Association of Towns of the State of New York, to be held in New York City on February 18, 2015. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Any discussion?
Bill, I think that gives us some great input into the Association of Towns, and I think that's great that you're serving as a delegate, and you play a role on the...
I'm now on the executive committee of the State
Executive committee as
Association
well.
of Towns. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that gives Brighton a voice. That's
It's a great organization. In fact, on Friday, Jerry Geist, who is the executive director of the Association of Towns, will be coming here to the Rochester area to speak to the Monroe County Supervisors Association, of which I also serve as president this year. So,
but in your spare time.
But that'll be we're going to be talking about the tax freeze, the tax cap. I'm sure Governor Cuomo's new program that's just been announced as well. So we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. We have two appointments to the Planning Board. I would ask that we handle them separately. They're both filling unexpired terms caused by resignations from the Planning Board. So if we could start with, in the order that they appear, with Mr. Wentworth.
The matter before us, move on the appointment of let's see, it was James Wentworth, effective immediately through December 31st of 2019 to fulfill an unexpired 7-year term of a resigning member. I move on the resolution is prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye.
Bill, the next one is for appointment of Dan Cordova to the Planning Board, effective immediately through December 15, 2015, to fulfill the remainder of an unexpired 7-year term of a resigning member. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
Just to point out, this term expires December 31st of 2015.
Right.
December 31st, rather. Excuse me, Ken. That's
Does it say 15? Yeah, it is December 31st, yeah.
Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jason.
Next matter is to appoint a particular person, being Andrea Tompkins Wright, to the Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately through December 31, 2018, to fulfill an unexpired 5-year term of a resigning member. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And this is a situation, Andrea is actually a member currently of the Planning Board, but expressed an interest. We had vacancies on both of those boards. She had an interest in coming over and joining the Zoning Board, so she will be one of the two new members appointed. So she'll be new to the Zoning Board, but not new to our land use work. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. And finally, Louise.
The next appointment is for the appointment of Jean Dale to the Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately through December 31st, 2015, to fulfill an unexpired 5-year term of a resigning member. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jason.
Next matter is to authorize supervisor to execute a new agreement with Mary Louise Conroe Esquire to provide legal services for particular town police matters. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. And we have another generous donation. Louise, if you could take this
The
one.
next matter is approval to accept a $2,000 donation from the Jack G. Lubell Foundation to be used for Brighton senior programs. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
We greatly appreciate the foundation's generosity. The senior program is a great program. Actually, I was over there yesterday. I had an opportunity to talk to a lot of the seniors. Fascinating lunchtime presentation about hats from all over the world. They even had one from, I believe, Nigeria, which would often be worn by tribal chiefs or mayors, interestingly enough. Now, I took one look at this hat and said that I have enough trouble getting through the doorways with another 2-foot tall hat, But it was interesting because this hat it was very ornate, and one of the sort of motifs on it were eyes, both looking forward and backwards, in a sense that the chiefs of the tribe could not only know what happened in the past, but could see the future. And I said, well, it's interesting. You know, in our culture, we have people that can look forward and can look backward, and of course we call them mothers with eyes in the back of their heads. But really some beautiful and interesting hats, and that's the kind of thing that the senior program does so much of. So it was fun, and thank you to the foundation for this generous $2,000.
What's the nature of the Jack LaBelle Foundation? I'm not personally familiar with it.
I'm actually not either, but they you know, specifically directed it to the seniors.
It's
and,
terrific.
It is very nice. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Jason?
The next matter is approval to accept $800 in funding received from Lifespan of Greater Rochester with approval to amend the 2015 Police Department operating budget to include same. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And as noted in the resolution, this donation from Lifespan is recognition of training that our department members, we previously accepted another donation. Our police department are being trained by Lifespan in elder abuse. And Mark talked about it a little bit at our last meeting, but just one more example of what your department is doing to really make sure we have those community relationships that are so important to help you do your job better. If you want to say a few words about the training.
It may have been carboned in or copied in on an email. We had a situation in town that this training specifically addressed, so it's timely, it's on subject. The reimbursement to the town is part of a grant funding. I don't know what level of grant funding Lifespan got, but the amendment that you're approving to the police department budget goes directly to the workstation of the uniformed patrol officers, so it'll have a direct impact on their ability to do the job. So, thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
Next item, Bill, is for approval of a 2015 budget transfer to support the 2% cost of living salary increases for non-represented and Teamster member employees. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
Bill, next matter also discussed at the FAST meeting is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Northeast Association Management to provide tail claim administration for pre-2010 workers' compensation claims. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town engaging them.
Second.
This is a continuation of service that they provide. They're, I don't know, Suzanne, if you want to address this, but it's service that's provided at no cost to the town.
Pretty much as you said, Supervisor, they're reviewing and paying out the claims on these cases that were in existence prior to the town becoming fully funded in 2010 for workers' compensation.
Is it they're part of PERMA, is that correct?
They are.
They're affiliated, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as part of the PERMA, we engage PERMA as well, and they provide this as an additional service with no charge.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter is to authorize approval to accept a $500 donation from Mr. Harvey Nussbaum to be used for the July 4, 2015 celebration. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Thank you very much, Harvey. Harvey has been a long time generous benefactor to the town. He provides services through the SCORE program. Harvey's an accountant and really, really has the community at heart. So thank you very much, Harvey. Appreciate it. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Louise?
The next matter is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Mr. Jerry Peterson to provide arborist consulting services for 2015. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to approve an award bid to Arbor Tree Experts, Inc., with authorization for the supervisor to execute an agreement with the same organization to provide bucket truck and operator rental for 2015. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
This resolution and the previous one are matters that we have worked on for a number of years and are part of our commitment to remaining a Tree City USA, which we have been now for over 10 years.
And Bill, we discussed at length at FAST the relative value of owning a truck and renting it, and I agree strongly that this is a good alternative to actually having to have a trained employee to operate it and actually then pay the cost of owning the truck and purchasing it. So,
thanks, Chris. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Waste Management of New York to provide refuse, recycling, and dumpster services for the year 2015, with consent for future renewals to be approved administratively by the supervisor and with review as to content by the attorney to the town. I move in the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Is this just for the parks, or is this for the districts?
No, this is for all of our town facilities, not for the districts, but includes the parks, town hall, the highway department.
Yeah, good question, Louise.
In the past, well, some of those services were provided by another vendor, but the last round of bidding, Waste Management was the low bid on all of that work. So this is renewing an existing contract, but also authorizing myself to continue to sign future renewals.
Okay.
As long as they're on the same, terms set forth in that contract.
Okay.
Right, if I could just take a minute here, because this is something a little bit new that we're doing in terms of contract renewals, and it applies to this matter and the next matter on the agenda. So often when we negotiate these contracts, our staff puts an effort into getting renewable contracts, particularly if they're on favorable terms. Not that they're mandatory, not that they automatically renew, but that we have the option at our election, the town's election, to renew the terms if the terms are still favorable and then the service is still good and everything's working out. And so rather than having those staff people have to come back to the town board each and every year to get it reviewed yet again by the town board and have that kind of delay in administrative work, it just makes sense to do it on a more expedited basis. And so we're going to see this not just in the Department of Public Works and the Highway Department, but in the Police Department and Recreation Department, across the board, really, where we have these opportunities. And the only other thing I wanted to point out is there is a difference in the resolution from what the actual agenda reads. There is no further review by the attorney to the town because the contract has already been reviewed, approved, signed, and all we're doing is renewing the very same contract. Yep. So there would be no point in having me review it yet again.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anything further? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Chris?
Next item, bill was discussed at FAST, is for seeking authorization for the supervisor to execute an agreement with Cacamese Electric to provide street lighting maintenance services for 2015 with consent for future renewals to be approved administratively by the supervisor with review as to the content by the attorney to the town if appropriate.
Second.
Please call the roll. For discussion? Again, as Ken said, similar arrangement. The attorney review won't be necessary as long as it's just a straight renewal. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to receive and file advisory report from the Town Planning Board dated January 6, 2015, along with the revised draft on the IPD regulations dated January 7th, and set January 28th for public hearing on the incentive zoning and rezoning application for the University of Rochester's proposed South Campus IPD, which means Institutional Plan Development Project. I move in the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
This, of course, is the South Campus project of the university. The board has spent, and staff has spent extensive time in the environmental review of this project, which culminated with the approval not only of a final generic environmental impact statement under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, but also of a findings statement demonstrating mitigation efforts that will be undertaken with respect to significant environmental impacts caused by this project. This is now the second phase of the review. This is the substantive review of the incentive zoning application itself, of the amenities and the incentives that the university is proposing to give to the town, as well as the substance of the regulations that would affect this area, things like setbacks, height, square footage, and the like. We're setting this public hearing to begin on January 28th, 2015. But it will, that will not end the process. We'll start this phase of the public review of the process, but I anticipate that public hearing will be kept open. This is a very important development project, one of the largest, if not the largest, development project ever in the town. And although it's been the indication of the university that it's something that they will build out over a 25 to 30-year term, today, through this institutional plan development process and through our incentive zoning process, we will be making decisions over the next several months that will guide and govern the build-out of that project over the next many years. Each building will receive review, and in fact, depending on the character and the magnitude of the building, there may be further environmental review, there may not, because that generic environmental impact statement did cover the broad IPD proposal. But this public hearing is very important, and it's an important opportunity for the community to, again, weigh in on your thoughts about the very technical aspects of this project. The materials are all available online, and the public hearing will begin on January 28th. We will continue it as needed, at some point, I anticipate the board following those public hearing sessions, following any reviews, any revisions, rather, will have the opportunity to take action on the project. So while the public hearing will begin on the 28th, it will not end that night. But going forward, the board is going to have some serious decisions, and we do want your input from the public as it relates to this project. We have a motion and a second. Anything further?
So I finally read it. The second or the third iteration of it. And if I have any questions, do I talk to Ramsey?
Well, you can certainly share them with Ramsey, but you will also have, of course, the opportunity as well to share them in the public hearing itself.
Okay.
There are issues that I have with the draft as it now stands. The university is aware of some of those concerns that I have.
I was concerned that if we vote yes on this tonight, that we wouldn't be able to ask that certain things in it be changed.
No, this is in fact what will allow us to ask that certain things be changed.
But this does not approve in any way the zoning application. It does not approve the institutional plan development. You've already adopted the generic environmental impact statement for this. So what we need to do now is move forward and looking at how this development is going to go forward, if it's going to go forward, under what terms. There's plans out there, there's proposals out there. Nothing at all is final on this. And so this just gives the board, the public, the developer, and all the interested parties an opportunity to come and speak their mind and try to work on this project. I do have a question, though, related to what Louise is asking. Is this going to be carried on the Public Works agenda at all? Is it going to be discussed at the Public Works Committee?
It has been on the Public Works Committee, actually, for the past several years, as they've gone through the process, and as needed, it may well return. I mean, the university was at the most recent Public Works Committee meeting. Really, it was an opportunity to just outline these next steps, make sure that they were aware of the initial timetable. But certainly as needed, they may well be back at the public hearing. But the one thing I would say is that those Public Works meetings are not a part of the formal public hearing on the process. That public hearing will be conducted solely at these town board meetings.
Right, you'll see where I'm going in just a minute. So I would encourage the town board members, if they have individual questions for staff, to certainly approach staff and chat with staff about that. If you want to discuss the matters between yourselves, the place to do that is either at the Public Works Committee meeting, which is an open public meeting, or at the public hearing on the 28th.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further, anything further? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Matters of the supervisor. The first item, I've been asked by Sandy Frankel, former supervisor Sandy Frankel, to continue to serve as a marriage officer of the town of Brighton. I support that. So can I have a motion to designate Sandy as a marriage officer for a term commencing immediately and running through the end of 2015?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Last is the resolution relating to the gas storage, underground gas storage of liquefied propane, and actually, although it's been propane that gets the publicity, I believe butane is also a liquefied gas that would be stored there in salt caverns on the western shore of Seneca Lake. I would encourage, as I said earlier, I hope this board will join the many other communities, both in the immediate Finger Lakes area, but beyond. I believe the city of Rochester will be considering a similar resolution to show our opposition to this proposal to store liquefied gas in unlined salt caverns along Seneca Lake. Can I have a motion to adopt the resolution that you have in your packet?
So, second.
Discussion?
Bill, where is this in the approval process down?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to ask me that. There are a couple of different sort of chains of approval. I have received a lot of information from the Gas-Free Seneca Group and our cause, Anna Sears, who was here tonight. I know I forwarded some of that, probably not all of that, to board members, but I can certainly share that with you. But there are a number of agencies that, you know, are involved in the
It's not just one
process.
approval from the local government, it actually has to get state approvals as well, and it's...
I think there are, yeah, I don't want to try to recall exactly the approvals, but yes.
Is there something that's precipitated the need for this storage?
Yeah, there are some very short-term, the need for the storage itself.
Why is it all of a sudden?
Yeah,
they're
very
asking for
honestly, I
permission?
think it's the tremendous volumes of natural gas that is being produced through hydrofracking, particularly in Pennsylvania and Ohio. That has built up a glut of various gases, as well as related oil. Obviously, that's one of the factors that's causing the price of oil to decline. There's more of the stuff than is being used, and they're looking anywhere to find places to store it.
Right, that's what I suspected, and I don't think it's appropriate that they store it in this kind of a sensitive facility.
Yeah.
Right next to the lake.
Yeah.
There's the thought on out there too, Chris, that the storage happens now because the price is so low, they'll stow it away until the price goes back up, and then they'll sell it.
And of course, there's also concern that once you allow the storage in New York, then it's
the next step.
The next step could be, as you know, as we read, there was discussion as the administration was reviewing options for the state of New York of phasing in hydrofracking. As we've said before, I'm very pleased. I know the whole board is pleased with the governor's decision not to allow fracking. But again, I don't believe this is an appropriate project. It's certainly not an appropriate place for a project of this kind.
Yep.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye, and as you see in the resolution, we'll be sharing this resolution with a number of not only our elected officials, but other agencies involved in the review process. In terms of matters of the supervisor, I don't have anything more. Ken, matters of the town attorney.
Just briefly, with the start of the new year, I just wanted to thank the town board for renewing my contract with the town, and looking forward to another good year with the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, matters of the town clerk?
Just briefly, obviously the town and county tax collection is underway. One change was in place for the school cycle, but is also now, that's different from decades of history, is that Chase is no longer accepting payments at their branch on Monroe Avenue. They've opted to discontinue that service for us, but M&T on Monroe as well as M&T on South Clinton at Loman's Plaza are both helping us with that and collecting. So if folks are not able to come during the week, that opens up Saturday hours to them, which is a good service to the residents.
Thank you. Sheila, it's been wonderful to have you here tonight. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, it was. It was very great. Very good.
Wonderful. Matters of the board.
Actually, just wanted to add that the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee will be meeting tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8 o'clock, to review the criteria of the NYSERDA grant and to develop a request for proposals for a consultant to use that grant money to hire in order to assist us with that process. So
Have you meeting below?
I believe it's in the lower level community meeting room.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So that after a while, we
Great.
finally got
Good.
the go-ahead from
Good.
NYSERDA. We finally got everything in place, and we'll be moving forward. So
Good.
I think that'll be a good thing.
Thanks, Jason. I do want to thank our cable TV team for bringing this meeting to everybody. Can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the Clover Blossom litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFanzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. We will not be coming back out into open session after the executive session. So our next meeting is January 28th, right here at 7 o'clock. Thanks for being a part of the meeting. Have a great night. That's it.
Yep.